Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Technology Show, where our experts translate geek into regular speak. How do you feel about mixed reality versus virtual reality? And what are your thoughts? Gadgets or games? And where exactly are you on the battlefield of Windows versus Apple? Stay tuned for our special geek guests. And now, it's over to our Techsperts.
It is the Technology Show where we translate geek into regular speak. I can't say every week because we've had a little bit of a sabbatical due to some of the local elections, and there's big changes underfoot. I would normally go, I'm Brett Levy, and with me as always, but there's no one with me as always. I've got a new dude sitting opposite me. Ciaran, how's it going?
It's going well, Brett. How are you?
There's Kieran's voice. I'm good, thank you. This really is an experimental show for you and me because I don't plan my shows, as you know, but you and I haven't even chatted, and we're sitting opposite. And we have guests, which we haven't had guests for a while either, so that's pretty exciting. We'll bring them on there just now. I've got to stop saying just now. You've got enough South African friends to know. Do your hello, come show me your brilliant South African accent.
My South African, look, it's very nice to talk to you, Brett, and thank you very much for coming to the studio today.
It's not bad, mate.
I'll get there with practice.
Look, I tell you what, it's better than my Aussie, yeah? And my only Aussie I can try and do is that Crocodile Dundee Bogan thing, and I don't do that well, so I'm going to leave it alone. So there's too many changes going on today, so I'm going to try and keep some of the things from the show, which is App of the Week. Because Aria is not here, I don't have to feel good about iOS or Android anymore. However, the app that I found this week is on both platforms. It's called Mooseman, and it's a game. Now, there's a whole the reason I actually looked for a game is, and it's probably one of the things we'll discuss just now, and things with a Z, but Apple made a really amazing announcement, I think the week before last, if I'm not mistaken, with Apple Arcade. I don't know if you saw that. That was to you.
That was to me. I did not. I obviously heard about some players trying to move into the streaming gaming market and trying to take a share of what I guess Netflix has popularized. Yeah,
and that's Apple TV Plus. So we'll talk about that just now. But because the whole gaming thing came to the ball, I thought, let me go and find a couple of new games. And I came across this game called Mooseman. Now, I thought it was fictitious. And, well, it's definitely fictitious when I take you through it. And one of these just indie games. But I actually learned something. So the game is all about you being this shaman, the old shamans of days gone by. And it's a platform. In other words, you play sideways. So you play from left to right and you just progress through these different worlds. But it's based on, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, the Finno-Ugric people. Now, for those of you that don't know who the Finno-Ugric people or collection of people are, shame on you. But I'm just going to pretend you all do, and I'm going to repeat it just for your sake, Ciaran. It's the people that lived in the Northeast Europe, North Asia region. So for all those flat worlders, now's the time to turn off because this kind of confirms that the Earth is round, given that Finland and Russia meet up near a tip, which is quite amazing. But basically, so it's the Finnish, the top of Russia, the Greenlands type of area. I think Estonia falls into the Finno-Ugric region. Anyway, so it's not made up from that sense. It's their myths and their tales, and you have to go through this journey. It is a beautiful game. It's just beautifully designed. It's got this, I say weird music, but I think I might offend someone because it's probably like music from those people. And you just this dude and things are trying to kill you and eat you, and you've just got to figure it out. But what was really cool about it is that there's no rules, so it doesn't tell you what to do and how to do it. You just have to figure it out, and those are the kind of games that I like. As I said, iOS and Android, and it was that I was looking for games based on one of the things we'll chat about now with things with a Z. So app of the week, Mooseman. I know you haven't had time to play it.
I've had a quick look, and I must say it sort of gives me that vibe of Journey, which is one of those games that, you know,
it's based on exactly that. Yeah,
this premise of really experiencing discovery and looking at some of the cinematics from the game. Having not played it yet, it certainly will appease the Harry Potter fans out there who like a spiritual Patronus. I can see the stag in there, so I'm sure Harry himself is quite happy. But it really does look like the kind of platformer that is engaging. And one of the problems platformers face, I guess, is that they are quite repetitive and they're so linear in their progression that you do tend to get bored quite quickly. Even on games like Mario, which held us captivated for so many years as a kid.
I still play Mario.
Well, look, so do I. I've got the mini Nintendo and the mini Super Nintendo now, so I'm teaching my 5-year-old how to play Mario, and he's terrible and it's frustrating. But one of the things about that style...
Hold on a second. Okay, Cam, just note, what's today? The 3rd, I think, of April?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk in a year from now, mate, when you're getting rings run around you by your 5-year-old who's now 6-year-old.
I hope so.
We'll see that soon.
I hope there's a post-toddler, preteen gaming camp out there for him so that he can get into the world of esports. Unlike we never had an opportunity to do. So.
Could you imagine if we said to our parents, we're going to play esports, and they're like, just one big clap across the head.
Do you know,
go back and study?
I tried. In Year 12, I sat around playing Quake Team Fortress, much to my mother's dismay. And I did explain to her that one day I was going to be incredibly wealthy from it. And she used to, I think, optimistically hope that might happen. But it did not, alas. I'm sitting here in a Big W T-shirts. So I clearly haven't gotten as far as I would have liked.
You can afford Big W.
Well,
I'm at Lowe's. I think they or best and less.
Actually, it is best and less.
Oh, there we go. I thought you had Big
W. I did
W.
upsell it a little bit.
Oh, there we go. All right. So from App of the Week to fashion and shopping on a budget. Look, the guy Mooseman wears, I think it's some form of deer skin. So we're still better than he is. And e-gaming's and all those good things. Check it out. Play. I think it was free, actually, to download, and maybe you pay for levels.
That's right.
As you progress. It is ThingZ with a Z, and I'm going to start saying Z now. I don't have to say Z anymore. Look, I say that, but, Aria, as he said on the last show, he's going to be popping in from time to time. I don't think we've quite got rid of him yet, so it's still going to be a bit fresh. Talking about technology, I have a Periscope setup. As you probably know by now, Alcatel is one of the sponsors on the show, and they sent me their new 5, which I don't even know if it's available yet, but it looks the same as an iPhone 10. It's got the little notch and it's a full screen. It's a fraction of the price. I think they're about $300 as opposed to like $1,000 or $1,500.
More than that, yeah.
So I thought I'd have some fun because I've wanted to try and broadcast. I just looked through the screen now and I don't think I can see me on it, which is probably a little bit defeatist or maybe a good thing. I don't know. I think I've got a face for radio. So, yeah, if this works, I'm going to start periscoping. So roughly 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, which is when we record the podcast, because podcasts obviously go out at any given time. You could jump on and periscope and find out stuff before other people do. And probably a good time to mention, we are going to be giving away another Alcatel one. Thanks, guys. So I think it's like our 6th or 7th or even 8th phone we're giving away. I don't know. But shout out to the guys, Alcatel One. Great little entry Android phone. And onto ThingZ with a Z. I wanted to chat about our budget that was announced last night. But before I do, because we started chatting about it in the previous segment, I made a note to myself here, Apple, you beauty. And I can say that now because I am a fanboy and no one's going to have a go at me. They have just announced all kinds of things in the last couple of weeks. I know you guys aren't on mic, but did you follow any of it? It was about 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah. The Apple events with the new iPads. Yeah, it was, right?
About 2 weeks. Yeah.
I'm just trying to put a time frame because I know people can listen to the podcast a year from now. So what it did is they teased. They started with the new iPad mini and I think the new iPad, which is their entry level. Both are now pencil ready, which was the big gripe of most people. They still got it wrong, and those words in Apple don't come out of my mouth that often. It's still got a button. There's still the touch button. Wow.
Similar to the Surface. Haven't made it as smooth as possible yet.
Don't get me started on Surface. But okay, we can get there.
We've all progressed beyond Surface.
But so they brought they've actually packed the big tech and the big chips into the mini. So that was clever. And the mini is a notebook. I mean, people still run around with pens and paper and that. The mini is designed for that. It's perfect for that. So that was the tease. Then they came out with the AirPods 2, which are, I think from what I read, the major difference is they're wireless.
That's right.
And I think the batteries are 50% more, maybe. But I don't know if I was reading across things. It's definitely they're wireless. And in typical Apple fashion, you will be able to buy a wireless box for your AirPods 1. So you could put your non-AirPods 2 into an AirPod. Oh, God, I'm going to hurt myself today. So you could put a wireless charging box on your old AirPods so you can still feel cool with funny white things hanging out of your heads. Now, I never have to defend that I'm a fanboy when it comes to Apple, but I carry Jabras. I use Jabras. In fact, I don't have my around the neck ones. I've got my shout out 65T. I just prefer them. They fit in my ears better. I can adjust the little rubbery things that come on them, fugal binders, whatever they call those things. I just found the sound better on mine, and they have far better noise cancelling. So like when you're outside in the wind and that and people are talking to you, the external mics cancel the noise. So that was their hardware announcement, and that wasn't what got me excited. It was what came, I think, like 4 or 5 days later, and they kind of like split up. They trickled it. So you mentioned when we were talking about the games, you were saying the streaming. That so the two are confused. There's two separate things there. There's Apple TV Plus and there's Apple Arcade. Now, Apple TV Plus is their go on Netflix. They basically have done deals now with all the big broadcasters. What they did, and this is where Apple always does it. I've always said Apple doesn't have to invent; they just perfect. So they can take what everyone else messes around with and they make it better.
Unless it's a wireless charging pad, right?
Are we still waiting for that, right?
Well, it got cancelled this week.
I did it.
Yes,
I didn't read that.
They finally shelved the project.
We'll get a third-party one, and there are third-party ones already.
And look, they admitted that the third party was relatively sufficient, but they had argued that they could perfect it even further and provide advancements that are
was
beyond.
Was it not an April Fool's joke?
No. They unfortunately, 18 months after announcement, have said that it just won't proceed.
Sure. See, now there's a problem because when they announce things on their shows, which that was announced 2 years ago with the watch and they normally come to life. So that is interesting. I didn't see that. That's strange that I didn't see something.
It was before April Fool's, so I can confirm, and our guests are nodding, so we can confirm it was real. But
are you guys Apple users as well? Good guys.
Look at their suits. Of course they are.
Yeah, no.
Stylish men.
I know. In fact, if that Periscope thing's still running, we've got some really stylish-looking guys here today. Definitely look better than we do for radio. That's for sure. You do know normally radio guys, no one can see you. Okay, so you don't have to dress up, but we appreciate it. Thank you. So the Apple TV, what I was saying before I went on my little tangent, not that I ever do, is they've spoken to some really big names like Oprah and who was the other dude? Seinfeld, and that they will start producing content for Apple. So instead of going through one of the existing channels, and then they've also spoken to the HBOs and the, I don't know all the names in America. We just get the hand-me-downs. There's HBO, there's SBS, there's
CBC, MBS.
CPN. Yeah. What's one with all those chick flicks on, like the vampire stuff, and then the CN or something? It's called the CN. Showtime's one of them. So they're going to do deals with all of them. So now...
I wonder, though, off the back of Disney's acquisition of Fox, how that's going to play out.
That's interesting.
Given, it's a $71 billion deal.
Okay, but Disney needs Apple. Huge revenues come through Apple. So I'm talking about their games and selling their movies. So that will be an interesting one to see.
So whether they become the unique distributor for the content, possibly? I mean, it would make sense. Apple, as you say, usually
put both them into, or maybe they do as... You see, look... They say you'll pay one fee and you get all of it. It's not going to happen. The same as the charging AirMat. There will be different tiers. Even Netflix is playing now with ad serving for a reduced rate. Hulu's been doing that for years. You can pay, I think it's $9 for Hulu with ads and $14 US without. I love ads. I know that sounds weird, right? So I took the cheaper subscription, not because I'm a cheapskate. I wanted to see the ads. That lasted a month. I had enough of those ads.
Was that?
Jeez, they were
was
terrible.
That related to the quality of TV back in South Africa? You just
no, I had to use a VPN. Oh, nice guy, mate. Let me hold on a second. Okay, shots fired. Let's just go straight away. The Australian advertising is horrific.
I would agree.
You have to agree. Okay. I would like to know. I invite anyone from an ad agency. I'm talking about the big four to please come in and have a chat to me and explain to me how you look your client, or more importantly, the creative director, how you look your client in the eye and sell that shit. Seriously. And I have 20 years in advertising, so I can say that from a point of authority. The advertising on our TV is terrible.
I think it's a reason
shocking.
I don't even watch free-to-air. It must be 2 years, I think, since I watched.
I can't afford. What's our local one? Fox or Yes or Fetch or whatever. Stan.
Well, see, I just recently got
Let's
Stan.
just talk about Stan.
I quite like Stan.
What the hell was that 80s long hair, folded up collar, puffy shoulder, blue eyes crap thing that they did? I don't know. That would be enough for me not to subscribe.
Look, you don't subscribe to original content for the most part. It's a waste of time. But Stan has a great assortment. I'm not going to sell Stan as a product here, but I've been on Netflix for a long time, and
I'm on Netflix.
I switched to Stan, and I have no regrets.
Really?
Oh, look, I think a much
Netflix
better
is
offering.
getting. Look, I haven't seen Stan. I know there's a 30-day trial and all those good things, but Netflix is, to me at the moment, just ticking all my boxes. There's really good stuff that's coming on the.
Are you using a VPN to use the foreign?
No. I've got Australia. I've just set it to Australia. It's easier. Look, coming from South Africa, I have more choice than I've ever had. So, and there I had to use a VPN because we couldn't get anything. So that's when I got Hulu, because Hulu also had all the Game of Thrones stuff, and there was always Amazon content that was on there, like the Grand Tour and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's Apple TV Plus. Then you've got Arcade. Now, Arcade, all my Android friends sent me messages saying, oh, well done, they copied again, because Google's just announced their one. It's called Stream, or I don't know what it's called.
I think it is called Stream.
It's Stream, for their games and that.
Yep.
It's not the same thing. Okay, now I'm not being one of those typical fanboys that going, it's better. It really isn't the same thing. Stream was more about going towards the Twitches and the existing games that are already in play. Apple Arcade was more about opening a platform to indie developers, and that was why I chose Mooseman, was to lead me into this discussion, where they're saying, we've got a platform, we've got, 1.5 billion potential subscribers. You can go from being an absolute nobody in a small little studio with a really great machine and a good set of pens and crayons and stuff to a superhero overnight. Only Apple can do that for you. Because in Google, you kind of got to find this stuff. It's up to them to promote it, and any of the existing games, and with the esports games, we already know what they are. There's only 5 that are worth following on Twitch and the other networks. So it's not the same. It's not a Me Too. It's actually a platform. And remember, Apple did this to music as well. They made music relevant again. They gave artists a chance to get into a platform that just got them to millions of users straight away and made them a success. In fact, we've had a few from Australia. Tame Impala, they did really well through the whole Apple iTunes exposure. What was that other band? Not band, singer, Vance Joy. Yep. He got huge international exposure through iTunes. So let's not bash them against another Me Too. I don't think it is. You're a gamer. Look,
I am, and I must admit, I'm 36 now, and I think I've been gaming since the Commodore 64 in the 80s.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of mobile games, so I'm always skeptical of any new platform that's pushing mobile-only content. I do recognise that it's probably the future of most kind of competitive gaming circles. There's always going to be a need for console and PC, but as an inherent PC gamer, I'll get that out in front right now, mobile gaming is hard for me. Look, I think it's a novel concept. I think they're competing directly with someone like Steam, where they really have encouraged the green room and that grassroots indie development, and it's been such a huge success that many kids around the world have learnt to code and actually make games and get them out into the...
But those have always been PC-centric.
They have.
You see,
that's
you
why I'm saying
can't take your PC with you.
No, you can't.
You can. You can take a laptop, but you're not going to fire up and...
Look, I think Steam lost their opportunity to be really effective here, and they did have... And they still kind of do. You can get big picture Steam, and you can actually stream and play with a console, with a controller. But it was never perfected, whereas Apple, as we say, they do perfect product. And I'm excited. I look forward to good mobile games.
Yeah.
I have... probably less time to play them than I used to have. I'm not commuting as much. But
I was going to say, if you commute, though, just think about it, because I am part of the cattle that goes from Bondi to town every day, and it's 16 minutes. In 16 minutes, you can have some fun. I mean, I read my emails, or I listen to a podcast.
That's 3 restarts on Mario 3 World 4-1, mate. I tell you.
I don't even get that far. In fact, if I'm going to throw myself under a bus here, I tried to play Fortnite the other day. I thought, let me do some father-son time stuff, right? Because this little guy is just becoming demonic on that machine. And I couldn't even get out of the starting block, like you jump off a bus thingy.
You jump off, yeah.
And then they say, go to, I don't know, Tilted Towers or something. So I was like, where there's Tilted Towers? There's no GPS here. Just follow me. And this kid's gone. And I'm like, I'm following. And I'm pushing buttons. And then I land on this tower. And of course, I jump off the tower because that's what you do. Dead.
You die. Yeah.
And then I get shot. And he comes and he gives me some medicine and stuff. And I stand up. I get shot again. And he just says to me, oh, Dad, I love you, but sorry, mate. You're going to get us both killed here. So he just left me to die. Literally. So, Cade, when you turn 18 and you're drunk and you can't get home, phone Uber, mate. Because I'm not coming to fetch you either. You just left me.
Especially if you jump off a building.
If you jump off a building, yeah.
It's look, I think it's interesting. Mobile gaming is inherently user-friendly, and that's where Apple really do have an advantage, that their platform's easy to use. If the content is delivered in an effective way and it's it's not cost prohibitive, I think they'll do really well.
That's the secret. And I think, though, with Arcade, the other thing that they were looking at is a subscription model. So it's the same as what TV Plus would be.
Yep.
You'll pay your $10 a month or whatever. That seems to be the sweet spot. The world seems to accept the $9.95. It kind of seems to be there. Like it's 2 cups of coffee, we'll handle it kind of vibe. Where do I drink coffee?
I think they need to be mindful, though, that, and I guess I'm probably in the exact example at the moment where, we've got Netflix, I've got a family Spotify, I've got Stan, I've got Amazon Prime.
Where's your priorities, man?
Well,
to get rid of all that stuff and get Apple Arcade.
I bought an Xbox, so I didn't realize you had to pay a monthly fee to play with people on the Xbox.
That's bullshit.
That annoyed me. Yeah,
that got me as well.
Before I bought it.
Yeah, that also annoyed me.
But if I had them all up and I was to say, okay, well, I'm also going to get Apple Arcade, I could be looking at $7 or $8 a month, and $10 isn't much. But when you think about all the other content, if Apple can really cleverly bring all this and synthesize it together, get an all-in-one subscription. You get the streaming, the arcade. You even get, maybe a monthly stipend on the App Store.
I'm sure it will come.
They'll seal the market.
I'm sure it will come. And I think they need to figure out where they're going. If you look at TV is for consumption, game is actually engaging. And of course, that brings me to the third announcement, which is Apple Card. And all I can say is I want one. I don't know why I want one.
It's because it's titanium.
It just looks so sexy, man. It had no numbers on it. Have you guys seen it, obviously? No. You haven't seen it? It's just a card.
I'll bring up a photo.
Okay, so it's just a card, like a credit card. It has the MasterCard logo, but cut in mono, okay? There's no color, and it just has your name on and the Apple logo. That's it. No numbers, no CVV, no. It's linked to your Apple Pay, so the card just becomes tactile for tap when you need to. But now, it's when Apple
slick.
Does stuff like that. That's kind of when you have to just go, shut up and take my money, right?
Well, I think it's comforting to people who are concerned about identity theft. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I have friends of mine in their 30s now that are terrified that someone's going to steal their card and use it. But
I wish someone would steal my wife. Yeah.
No, same thing. But this has no numbers on it. There's no CVV. People can't copy it and get your details. Yeah.
So I actually did quite a lot of reading up on this because I love mobile payments. It's something I've always been involved in most of my career. And what was very interesting, what they did is, and their whole pitch was, there's no Qantas miles, there's no flyby velocity points, there's none of this crap. It is 2% of purchases.
Cashback.
So what you've just said now, so if you take Stan and what else did you say, Amazon and
Netflix
all those things,
and
Netflix,
Spotify,
okay,
pick them all.
So you got to like $60, right? 2% back on that towards your subscription then of whatever it is you're paying, just your shopping. You know what I mean? So I really think they've sat down and thought about it carefully, and I think they said they'll give you 3% on Apple products.
Apple purchases, that's right.
So
look, I think they're very...
I think that's more than Apple resellers actually make. I don't think they make 3%, but anyway.
They're a clever company.
They are a clever company.
For years they've been providing access through Latitude financial services, so for people who can't afford to buy up front, they can always get interest-free, and they've effectively just eliminated that market and said, okay, well, we're going to provide you with the capital, and it's interest-driven. So they're also going to make a pretty tight return. I think the initial rates I read were around 24.9%. So they're pretty sizable and well above the standard Australian card interest rate. It'll be interesting to see what happens if it does come here. But it's clever. I mean, they've effectively said, look, anything you want, we can manage every step now of your purchase cycle. And that's, if they never have to leave or consult with any third party, I
think it's great.
Yeah.
I think the one big thing that all the banks are saying now is like, oh shit, we should never have done Apple Pay, because they've learned so much from these banks. I'm talking about globally, not just here. They've seen how the transaction occurs, what the average spend is, ARPU as they call it. what time of day, when, what device. They have learned so much by putting the Apple Pay environment. And I mean, Google's the same. The Google card will come out next. Won't look as sexy, but it will come out next. Maybe it'll be a little Android dude. Like
I was going to say, if it's a little robot, I'd probably get one, even though I hate Android. But I'd get it just to carry a little Android around.
Yeah, you see, I'm like that as well, but I'm so getting one of those cards. I don't care.
I did read there's no plan to release here yet.
We're Apple's first market outside of the States, though. Yeah, Australia's always been.
We can be hopeful.
So, but our problem is our banks. That's our problem.
Yeah.
Is that our banks have pushed back against Apple Pay, as you know.
Of course.
I think it was ANZ that had it, and then only recently the others have started.
Yeah, I think NAB and ANZ were the first two, but
NAB didn't have it.
They were still
only ANZ.
Quite late. Yeah. ANZ was the early adopter. I bank with ING, as everyone should, and that is a plug.
So if you've got a long-haired Chihuahua, have you seen that ad?
I haven't seen
That's probably one of the
I don't watch TV.
Dude, there's I'm sure it's ING. Otherwise it would look like a righteous tit, but I'm sure it's ING. She's going around, there's this like redhead and orange balloons. It's orange, it's their colours.
Yeah.
And she's... Huh?
Oh, it's Isla Fisher.
Okay, see, so I'm not such a fanboy, right? I'm getting the nods from the guys
here. We do like Isla Fisher, so
right. Okay, so you'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
I thought so. She's an actress.
Yes.
Yes, I thought I'd recognise her.
She's married to Ali G.
Is it because I be black? There we go. Okay, so she's got, at the end, she's telling you about the savings, this auto-saving things, and you gave a plug. I gave a plug to Raise on that one. That's the old Acorns.
Yep.
So every time you spend money, it puts it up. And she sends it and says, once you've saved your money, you can buy something like this. And she's holding this bunny and she's stroking. She goes, a long-eared chihuahua, you know. Now, as good as that is, that's also where I have to have a go. The guy leans on and he goes, rabbit, rabbit. Like he's telling you, like, we can see it's a rabbit. You don't have to explain. It's a rabbit. We know she's dumb, but, well, she's hot, so it's okay. But ING, yes. So you gave your plug. I gave my plug. We've talked about Apple Card. Next. Can we talk about the budget?
Let's do it.
Can we?
Why not? I do like money and politics. So.
Okay. I'm just going to say straight off the bat, first of all, if the funny accent doesn't give it away, I don't know much about Australian politics.
Neither.
But I also don't know much about any other politics. It's not something I've really followed. But in the budget, which affects every single person, because I want to know how much more money you're taking from, how much money you're giving back, and what you're spending on. There was a technology section. So being the technology show, I thought that would be great to have a look at it and have a moan, because I never moan, but I'm going to have a moan. So one of the things that I saw was the My Health Record and the Gov Pass were given more money. So they're going to put another $200 million towards the My Health Record. Now let's just stop on My Health. Let's do a quick check in the room. Have you opted out on the My Health Record?
I have, yeah.
I have. Cam, did you? Did you opt out on the My Health? You don't even know what it is.
Do you know what it is? Yeah.
No, okay, that's fine. Do you guys... Did you opt out?
I didn't opt out.
You didn't. Okay, so we've got Cam, who we love, but he doesn't really care about anything at the moment, so that's fine. So that's a no vote. And then you've got 3 opt-out and 1 opt-in. So there's 4 random people sitting in a room talking shit, right? Well, 2 of us, 1 of us is talking shit at the moment, but we're sitting in the same room. 1 of us stayed in. Isn't that a failure? Because that's what the metrics are. It's like 1 in 8, I think, are staying in.
That's right.
So why spend more money?
Well, on advertising to encourage people to opt in, I guess. I think
that worked, right?
I think
because we talked about Australian advertising. So yeah,
I find this interesting. I mean, I'm in the medical field, so for me, the concept of My Health Record is inherently
good,
interesting.
Yeah, no, I think it's good.
The idea behind
it's just what they want to do is wrong.
That's right. I think about having moved from a different town to the city or whatever it might be. It's always hard to get an accurate record into your new GP and try and establish that relationship which you really need. And I find that I find it difficult to make sure I remember every little thing, or have I taken this, or was I sick, or did I do this? And the premise behind digital medical records is fantastic.
It's brilliant.
But
I agree 100%.
If any statutory authority or interested person can read my mental health history
Bingo.
or my drug history or whatever it might be, that's a no-go for me.
100%.
And even in the field, I opted out.
So there we go. Ooh, Jack, too late, mate. I think you can opt out anytime you want, though.
He's done, but we can find out more about him after the show.
True. So I'm not going to go into it and why, but I was actually shocked to see that they threw 200 bar at it. I mean, that's not exactly like, have $1 million and see what happens. The next one they did was 67 odd million at the GovPass, which is the digital identity. Now, last financial year, I think GovPass got 92 million. So with my quick maths, that's 170 million, 67 and 92. I don't think it's bad spend. I like the concept of digital ID, but what you've just said now with the government having access to data, what happens when things go wrong and we're all sitting there?
Look, I would love to see, honestly, I'd love to see if we're going to go down this pathway. And I like the idea of, getting my license offline and going to fully digital, which is planned in New South Wales. And I think some have already started.
Yeah. Well, they're doing the trials with your license
some
that
people,
as well.
Yeah. I love the concept, but I think we need to be looking at, or the government needs to be looking at security properly and just particularly data identity. I mean, there is so much development out there in terms of blockchain security for information and for marketing channels and trying to protect end users from marketing companies, so there's never a transfer of information. I think with the right framework, a digital ID could be great. And what an easy way for people to just ensure that they're always covered and all their information is accessible, provided it's effectively non-identifiable to anyone in the middle, and it can't just be transferred over. It needs to be secure in such a way that you can't request it as an employer or a bank or whatever.
Let's do another quick poll. Who would stick a chip in their arm or hand or whatever, like to replace the ID?
No.
3. Cam? No? Okay, so that was an interesting one. So it's radio, I've got to explain it because we might have one view on Periscope. So there's 5 of us, 3 said yes. I'd go human 2.0 tomorrow. It's just so much easier. I could just zap my hand on the PayPass machine.
You and what was his name?
That other guy got arrested.
Captain Frou Meow Meow or something his name was.
Meow Meow. That sounds like the name of the ferry that they named. Yeah. What was it? Smokey or whatever.
Ferry McFerry.
Yeah, that one.
Look, the only hesitation I have is the inherent infection risk there, Brett.
Okay, but
the body's going to reject it, mate.
I don't think it would, huh?
Well, I think the immune system would have something to say about that, but
yeah,
it's.
We've put up with stupidity. I mean, we haven't switched off from that. Our body hasn't worked out how to combat that. But anyway, so the other thing was the cybersecurity budgets. And I quote, "We can't tell you how much we allocate that for national security reasons." I mean, like, come on, guys. You're spending money. You've got to tell us what you're spending. And I think they're underspending. If they're not prepared to tell us, if they're throwing 100 to 300 million at two stupid things, and they're not doing billions at cybersecurity, because let's be honest, we need it. Look what happened in Christchurch.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity helps towards that kind of stuff.
There is another. I did read about a month ago, there was an announcement for small business where the government is allocating all this money for cybersecurity firms to investigate your business and actually help you enable it to be more secure.
To be more vigilant.
And I think that kind of spending is really good because
Correct.
There's 3 million smaller businesses in Australia, and if every one of them had a grant and was able to improve their security, then we're all going to be better off. But I agree, if they're not willing to disclose under the guise of national security, that's usually a red flag.
Yeah. Correct. And why I brought these figures up and then save these is we've got a clear shortage of women in what they call STEM, which is the science, technology, engineering, and math. So the tech space. We know this, okay? And they've allocated 3.4 million over 4 years to encourage that. So what they're going to do, send a coupon to women that aren't doing and saying, sign here and come. What are you going to do with $3.4 million?
You can run a few bake sales.
Oh, there we go. You don't need maths for that.
It's pretty appalling.
I just thought that was appalling. That was basically saying we know that there's no women in STEM, but we don't care. Put labs in place in schools. Encourage girls to become tech geniuses. I don't know. Genie. Anyway, so that was pitiful. So you suck on that. And then the other thing they did, they allocated 132.4 million over, for digital upskilling, but they're allocating it to tradies. Now, I follow the ACS, which I think is the Australian Computer Society. They put out a really good publication weekly and quite a few good events. So there's a plug for them as well. In fact, I think we've had one of their guys on our show before. They've done their own audits, and they reckon that we need 100,000 tech workers in the next decade because that's where we're going. But you're allocating all the funds to tradies to help them upskill their digital ability. So are they going to calculate how to hit the hammer into the wall using augmented reality.
No, I wonder whether it could be twofold.
And that's why I'm speaking to you, because I know you're a little bit more
I'm not going to defend the decision, because I'll be honest, I haven't read about that particular allocation. But I mean, digital upskilling can mean a number of things. There's been discussion politically for years in Australia about converting our tradies into workers of the future.
Yep.
So giving them the requisite skills they need to do some entry level, Python coding or learning how to do some breadboard construction or whatever it might be. Moving them into separate sectors of tech. On the other hand,
let me ask you a question. Why?
Well, I guess,
and I don't mean that horribly. I can't do a tradies job. I can't. First of all, I don't have the physical skills to do it, and I don't think I could dig or be physically active for 8 hours. So I'm not taking away from what these guys do, and it's a very important thing that they do. The world would be stuffed without them. Okay. But that is what they do. They don't. Their hands are dirty. Their clothes are dirty. They work physically all day long. Why do they need to build on Ruby on Rails or Python, or you know what I mean?
Well, it could be. Again, we're speculating a little bit.
100%.
It could be that
I don't know what the thinking is.
It could be that some of the skills can be automated and replaced, so they're planning ahead to try and transition those out. The
union party would love you for that.
The unions don't want that. But the flip side is, I think that money, the upskilling money, is probably to ensure that these tradies have the skills they need to be able to run their own business. And businesses are a tech thing now.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what it is. We do need investment in tech, and we definitely, I talk to so many people who are, every third person, I think, in Australia is doing computer science at uni.
Yeah.
And hardly any of them.
Well, thankfully, because we need them.
No, I know, but I feel like none of them, I never hear of them going into high impact jobs. I mean, where are we sending these kids that graduate? Because I know guys that did computer science. One guy's working, on an IT help desk, and another guy's pulling beers, and I think, are we actually utilizing those skills, or we've got projections and we're not meeting the target, so we're just dumping
I think
people?
that's the problem, because the demand is definitely there. I just don't think we're in line with the global growth in the tech space, like robotics, the artificial intelligence side of things. We're not seeing enough of it, but hopefully that changes. The last thing, because I also want to get into our guests as well, the last thing I saw in the budget, which really pissed me off, is they've put $10 million over the next 4 years to teach children how to be safe on the internet. We need a lot more than $10 million.
Absolutely.
We've all done our time, so we all have done our stupid things. When I was in uni, there was no Facebook. I don't think anyone would employ me if there was, for the kind of stuff that I got up to.
IRC doesn't really keep logs.
Yeah, you see.
We've moved on.
So, but the kids today are first screen the whole time. There's a screen somewhere at any moment in their day and age. With pedophilia and just bullying, just actual cyber bullying with what's going on. $10 million really, but we're going to throw 200 at a health thing that only Jack's going to use. Jack and his mate. He's got one mate that's going to use it as well.
Not in this room.
There's two people. No, not in this room. He's in Perth. In fact, that's where my health engine comes from. And look what happened to them, the trouble they got into, right? So, yeah, 10 million I thought was I'm glad that they've acknowledged it. So well done. It's the first time that someone's actually acknowledged the cyberbullying and cyber safety of children. So, well, hold on. Well done. But do me a favor, $10 million.
To me, it's exactly the same as how they treat mental health. It's taken a decade or more to get any level of reasonable funding, when we know that, mental health conditions affect 1 in 5 people in Australia at some point. We have this scenario that the government chooses to ignore for the most part, despite health professionals in the sector saying we need to do something. 10 million is pathetic. I think, realistically, you could probably spend 10 million in every local area police command as a minimum.
$1 billion on the stupid light rail. Or $10 billion.
Well, $4 billion.
Thank you. And it's
20 odd billion for the West Connects.
20 kids up and down in a minute, but they're going to give 10.
No,
if I just take one school, just one school of 1,000 kids in their lifetime of school, I'm talking about, so it's 12 years. I haven't actually done this calculation. I'm going to try and do it in my head. So you've got 1,000 kids in 12 years. That means every year another, you've got people leaving and coming. If you allocate the million just to that school, okay, that's what? $1,000 a kid on 1,000 kids, 1,000 thousands a million. Sorry, $10,000 a kid over their 10 years.
Yep,
it's $1,000 a year. My school fees are more than that.
Yeah,
that's one school. How many schools have we got in Australia? So that for me, and I mean, I'm a parent. You're a parent. Are you guys parents? No. Yes. No. I didn't think so. I was like, I know you, mate.
He wouldn't have
they wouldn't be wearing
My
suits,
Health
right?
Reports, yeah.
They wouldn't be wearing suits if they were parents. They'd know better. Vomit doesn't wash off suits that well. But yeah, so that was just the one thing. That was my last
Look,
little
I think it's missing 3 zeros, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, 10 billion's a good starting point, and people always whinge we don't have enough money in the budget, but we spend it on crap endlessly. I mean, I'm not one usually, and I'm never one to argue about things like foreign aid, but we'll easily drop 100 or more million in foreign aid, but we wouldn't spend that on our own people.
And that's just what that was the only thing that upset me. As I said, the fact that they've acknowledged it, like they acknowledge that we need more women in STEM. They acknowledge that we've got cyberbullying. So they're putting their hand up and saying hello, but I just think the numbers were wrong.
Do you think this is indicating that the Liberal Party don't like women or children?
I don't know. I don't even know anything about the Liberal Party, so I can't even.
Well, they're in government, and if you look at their ministry, I suspect that's probably true.
Okay. Well, we've got to the best time of the show, which we actually haven't done for a while. When I say we, Ciaran, I know this is your first. In fact, hold on a second. There's another thing. I'm claiming your radio virginity, although I know it's not your first time on radio.
It's not.
It's your first time on my show.
It is.
So, and I put you into the co-seat as well.
I was going to say I've come in.
You've come in hot,
in the
man.
deep end.
Yeah, you've
with
come
no
in hot.
prep and just.
No, I like it. It's
luckily,
good.
Luckily, I read the paper.
You've done well, mate.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So now you can hear some extra voices running around, and we have Jack and Julian from Guardhouse HQ. Correct.
Yeah.
Guardhouse. Just Guardhouse.
Just Guardhouse.
Oh, so I have the HQ as the website. So
Yeah.
there's already the punch. You see, I'm already on your. So it's guardhousehq.com.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jack, you were on the show about a year ago, I think.
I was,
in a previous venture.
Correct.
Okay, we'll leave it at that one. But you've been here before, so I'm not claiming that. Julian, you've been on radio before?
I've been on radio before, but when I was 12 and calling into the Hot 30 or something.
Oh, but so you haven't been on. You haven't been on a show.
Not on a podcast, no.
Done. Another virginity.
He's calling it a vote for
just
Tony Brankston, I think.
It's like there's
Maybe
a
Linkin
competition
Park,
that's going on now. I think it was with Kiss for like $5 million or something. But you had to phone to get in.
Huge.
And like every single person that goes into the draw, someone's going to win $5 million. I'm like, wow. There was another one. And not that we're here to share the love for the competitors, but they're not competitors. They love radio. I think it's Nova. They're doing $1 million. They've got 1 million songs, and they've put them up on a wall, and you just choose the song. And they turn the card around, and it could be $1 million.
I'm not a huge fan of Carl Sanderlands, but I'll say one thing. He has driven that competition in FM radio, where they're all now really pushing each other to outdo each other. And that competition, I mean, 5 million. That is a huge prize. It's life changing.
That's a massive prize.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't speak too ill about Carl with Jack in the room.
Jack's a fan, too.
Does Jack like him?
Yeah, Jack loves him.
Huh?
Love Carl.
Yeah.
You'd do well then in the States with what's the guy that's the host on
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. I love Howard
He's
Stern.
the best.
In fact, you would have loved my live show in South Africa because Gareth Cliff is the Cole and the Howard of radio there.
Oh, great.
So that's where I did my School of Hard Knocks. Right, back to Guardhouse. Let's not worry about Nova or Cole or Carl or anyone else. Guys, who's going to kick it off? So I've got you both co-founders of the company.
Yep.
We've already told everyone, and they'll see the pictures online of how well you dressed. Thank you. It's a sign of respect for us. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Don't do it again. We look bad. But kick it off. Either one of you, both of you,
Sure.
go for it.
Yeah. So Guardhouse is a workforce management tool that we drive towards the security guard industry, physical security. Now, we've been building this product for about 18 months, and we launched towards the back end of last year. Now, from that point, we've been getting a lot of traction, a lot of customers early this year, so it's getting a really strong uptake in the market, which is really cool. But how we got there is a bit of an interesting one. So we have another business called Zen Shifts. It's a generalist employee rostering, time and attendance, and payroll export platform.
I challenge you to say that again. Just say that again because it was so
Verbatim.
smooth. Yeah.
No. So Zen Shifts.
So you've always been involved in time management and tracking people in the workforce environment. Is that the easiest way of simplifying it?
Pretty much, yeah. So my background is retail management, hospitality management. Andy, the CEO of the business, was in facilities management. Again, people management, rostering, time and attendance, getting people into the place where you need them to be and making sure that they're doing the actual work. So ZenShift started just over 5 years ago, or just on 5 years now, I think. And we were in that space for still until now, and the business still goes. That business has funded the development of Guardhouse. But over that time, we were getting a lot of customers in hospitality and retail where we're targeting, but also a lot of security companies that were coming to us and going, hey, we love your software. It's really easy to get the guards out on site, but we'd love to see this, and that. And so as time went on, we got more and more of that feedback coming through, and we went, actually, this is a pretty cool market, and this is a way to niche our offering and put us into a space that there's not too many people actually playing in. With generalist systems, there's a whole stack of different companies in every market.
Yep.
So to go global with that, you need a lot of money. And we kind of looked at it as a path of least resistance to find a really amazing solution that we could deliver, sell a lot, and deliver a really good service to a whole stack of businesses. So that's kind of where we're at.
Cool.
Yeah,
Jack, you're dying to say something, mate. You're like dancing like an Easter bunny.
No, I just think the exciting thing about the product is that we walk into the room and they're just so happy that there's a product that's specifically designed for them. And
Do you sell vibrators?
They wish.
Yeah. I don't think they're guarding too much.
It's on the roadmap.
I've got a question, because I've looked at your site and I know you, and I know that you wouldn't get involved in something that wasn't of a certain quality. Now I'm talking as a South African, okay? So do we really have a problem here? We have that many guards? Like security is security.
Absolutely.
You know, I come from a country where that's where your next market, mate, is. You can roster those guys to
We
the
actually
cows
already
come
get
home.
a stack of leads from South.
Yeah, I'm
South
sure
Africa.
you would.
We do. Yeah,
it's probably the
huge.
biggest industry there. But just to define, and Julian, I love the fact that you've looked at a niche, because that's actually what businesses need to do. The generalization of businesses is actually the downfall of businesses. That's why we see so many cool products and startups coming through. With guarding or this type of guarding, are you talking about like the guy that stands outside a pub like a bouncer, or the person that checks your bag? What is that? So like, is that the definition of the guarding? So anyone's involved, but do they have to be like certified? So can I go and stand outside?
No.
So that's what I was trying to get to.
So this is the thing about the product that's
I don't know what that is. Can you hear that?
Sounds like the oceans.
We are in our new beach house studio, so it's probably that.
Oh, look, a seagull. Oh, there's a whale. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it adds to the ambience.
Oh, construction.
Oh, you
see, we're in the city.
It's great he's heard us.
I told you we should have let them technically skill.
There we go.
Great. So yeah, I think one of the big things that we bring in is a whole compliance engine, and it's massive in the Australian market especially. So the guides need to have a full-on training. They need to renew their license. If they go out to a venue unlicensed, it's a massive fine for the venue. It's a massive fine for the security company. So that's something that we bring into the system, and something we can do as a niche product, which is really exciting.
So do you offer the compliance as well, or is it just to confirm that Ciaran has got his level 2 or whatever he needs to go to that?
Just to confirm. So say if Ciaran was working the night before and punched some bloke out because he was being a bit of a dick.
That sounds like
I am
night
Irish,
before last.
Yeah.
And then his license got revoked overnight and didn't tell the company, and then he went to work the next day and a police rocked up and said, hey, mate. Yeah, so we bring all those checks into the system daily.
Okay.
And so we're able to pull that information from various state-based databases.
That's what I was going to ask.
So
My health record.
My health record.
My health record, yep.
So I don't know, you guys would be probably familiar with OneGov in New South Wales. Yep. So OneGov, that's the database we can pull information from, various different state-based ones that we can take from.
Each state do it differently, which is actually interesting. There's
No, it's not interesting. That's just being polite. That's a pain in the ass.
Look,
come on.
It's a challenge, but we've been able to develop a process to check, and it delivers huge value to a customer because it's all manual otherwise.
Correct.
So let me ask you a question. I mean, I'm always interested in user experience, and anytime there's something been developed, I want to know what it's like for me. Now, obviously, you've got a centralized system that the purchaser can use, but what's it like for the end user? So if I'm the guard,
Sure.
What sort of functionality does Guardhouse offer me? So that how do I get notified of what I'm doing, where I'm going to be? I mean, is it a seamless kind of process?
Yeah, we try to make things essentially one click for the security guards in the field. Now, their job is to keep things secure, keep people secure. We don't want them to learn a technology platform. So in terms of, as a guard, I can submit my availability, open the app, click submit availability, select the dates, hit send. That's it. When I arrive on site, I want to clock into a shift to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time.
I think that alone is critical,
Huge.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to know that the guard that I have is actually guarding.
Has it got location
So
services
how
on?
do you-
It does,
It
yeah.
does, yeah.
Yeah. So we now one thing that's been an interesting challenge is this industry specifically, guards don't like to be tracked the whole time. So we just do a geo tag when you clock in, and does that fit around a certain perimeter?
What are you using to geotag? I mean, I'm being the techie here. Is it their device, their phone?
Yeah.
So they check in with their phone.
That's right. Yeah.
So do they have like a guard app, and I've got the dashboard app as the employer?
Correct. It's all one and the same app, but it's just different permission levels give you different access within the platform. But yeah, so I clock in, clock out of my shifts. Also confirm shifts, so push notifications to come out when the roster is distributed by the management. I get the push notification. I can look at it. I can confirm the shifts. Yes, I'm going to do them. No, I can't do them. That's
so you do
what's
the
right.
rostering as well. So it's not just about managing the compliance and making sure that he or her is where they should be, but you can actually plan your guarding shifts and
For
so
sure.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Payroll,
so
invoicing. Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
everything
Across
to
the
do
whole
with managing that head as such.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So full end-to-end system.
Yeah, that's
So, yeah,
very cool.
From the submission of availability through to paying your guards and invoicing your client, everything in between we try and take care of.
So, as someone who's got a little bit of experience in payroll, is it literally end to end in the sense that you can you actually submit bank feeds into Guardhouse?
So we do up until the point of feeding into an accounting platform.
Okay.
So we'll still do we'll still interpret the awards. We'll still essentially realistically we could do the bank feed, but at this stage developing a full payroll engine. We've got other targets.
Well,
in mind.
there's other platforms out there, so you can
Absolutely.
feed out into MYOB or Xero.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
fantastic.
We're integrated into both those platforms at the moment, and looking to increase what we're at the footprint of integrations as time goes on.
Everyone's chuckling because I'm playing with this Periscope thing, guys. I'm going to keep trying this Periscope thing as the weeks go. So look for the technology show on Periscope. And that wasn't because I wasn't listening or paying attention either. I just have to actually keep myself
I am going to ask
focused.
another question though, because I'm very interested in this. As I said,
Well, I should hope so. I wouldn't bring guests on that you wouldn't be interested in speaking to.
No, like I said, I do love user experience. So obviously it sounds simple for the guards, and that's what it should be. You obviously don't want them tied up when they should be focusing on other things. Do you have built in, like an incident reporting tool, or is there ways for them to communicate back and say, actually something's wrong here? Is there an alarm protocol or something if they're under duress?
Sure. So it's all interesting points now, and that probably leads to
good question, man.
Yeah, that probably leads to something that we'd like to discuss a little bit more, which is a partnership that we've been working on to bring in technologies like that rather than developing ourselves. Now, Jack, if you'd like to talk to that.
Yeah, sure. So we were saying we do everything sort of that pre-shift, so scheduling, and then post-shift invoicing, payroll. There's this awesome bit in the middle where what does the guard actually do when he gets there?
Smoke cigarettes, picks
exactly,
his nose,
has a
scratches
sleeve.
his ass.
If he's at a train station in the middle of nowhere, for sure, he's having a big snooze. So we sort of looked at the Australian market and go, okay, who's doing this on-shift reporting stuff? So incident reporting, a bit of guard tracking, like man down and lone worker. And we picked Uniguard, who've been in the space for 21 years. And we're building this really cool joint product where we bring in all the pre and post shift and the on-shift stuff into this one awesome platform.
So is this an announcement? Are we getting to hear about a new joint venture here on the technology show?
Absolutely. This is the the debut.
So Uniguard does something similar to what you guys do, and you're now helping them power and move their level up, or am I misunderstanding that, or is it just offering them additional services?
So the Uniguard stuff is all the on-shift stuff, so incident reporting, all that stuff.
Now they can do it through your platform.
Correct, yeah.
Oh,
so it'll be a joint platform that is now fully end-to-end.
That's fantastic. Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I have to ask, how long has Guardhouse been around? Because we chatted about a year and a half ago. I know that Zen Shifts been around longer, but how long has this project as such been around?
So 18 months we've been developing Guardhouse, launched end of last year.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's still new.
Very new, yeah.
And you already got a 21-year-old company busy jumping into bed with you guys. Yeah. That's fantastic, man. Well, look, we're at the end of the hour. It goes just like that. Just to wrap it up, I've already mentioned Guardhouse HQ. Sorry, HQ, right? GuardhouseHQ.com. Oh, I'm still doing this route versus route thing, but we'll talk about that another day. And Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yeah,
You got
LinkedIn.
the mics. Tell us where to go.
Yes, absolutely. We're very active on LinkedIn, Jack especially. We're not too. We haven't gone too far down the socials as yet, but LinkedIn we're very active. We're trying to engage the community through there.
Okay.
And stay tuned for a new website.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh.
Look, there's nothing wrong with your website. I must be honest. I looked at it. I mean, it's
pretty schmick, yeah.
When you see the new one, you'll
Yeah.
see there is something wrong with the website.
Right.
Can I give you my number? Can you build mine for me as well? Because I'm just too busy doing other things. All right, guys. Well, thank you, and congrats on the new partnership as well. That's definitely exciting. Yeah, we'll catch you again, I suppose, in a year. Please keep us updated as to how it goes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ciaran, anything from your side?
No, look, I think it's good to see local tech innovating and hitting that niche. And as Brett said, we're finding all these very exciting new developments coming because they're targeting something so narrow. And this is not even an industry I would have thought needed a solution.
No, neither would I.
So, it's fantastic to see. And I have no doubt that having looked at the website and what you're going to provide, you guys are on a winner.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us, guys.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
Until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode of The Technology Show. Remember, for more episodes, hop onto eaglewavesradio.com.au, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Catch you next time.